Hello, everyone. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is Ask the Sensei. It's a monthly free Q&A webinar that we do at the VO Dojo. Each month, myself, usually our techno sensei Dan Leonard, the home studio master, who is not able to be with us today. He's got some medical stuff going on, and a lovely invited colleague comes. So we invite a colleague to be our guest sensei to answer questions with us. And today we are thrilled to welcome Brittany Cox of Next Level Voice Demos. I speak English. She is a Dojo nth degree alum, and also she and her husband Ryan are demo producers. We work with them to make the magica here. Okay, hi Brittany. So glad you could be here. And Ryan's not here either. So
yeah, Ryan had to go out of town so unexpectedly. So it's just the ladies today.
There's something powerful about that,
right?
Yeah.
So hi guys, for those who don't know me, my name is Brittany Cox. I am a voiceover actor here in LA, and with my husband Ryan, we run Next Level Voice Demos. So we produce commercial, narration, animation, video game demos for all kinds of people. And my voiceover journey started, I came from a theatrical and on-camera background and then started doing voiceover. And now I do it exclusively for the past 7 years. I'm the current voice of Nancy Drew in the video game series. I'm also in Fire Emblem. I work with clients such as Microsoft, Amazon, Google, T-Mobile, all that stuff. And my husband comes from the casting and audio world. So he came from voiceover casting and then did music placement for commercial clients. And back when we were living in Seattle, we combined our powers and started doing demos. So we've been doing them for about 7 years, helping people from all over the country. We have clients in New York, Chicago, Texas, Seattle, LA. So we are pretty familiar with a lot of different markets and have kind of tailored our whole process to really focus on the individual artist, where you are, what your goals are, where you want to be, what kind of career you're wanting to have, where you are in your journey. And we tailor our process to that. So kind of our whole demo process is that we talk to each client, see what their goals are, where they are, all that stuff. And then we write original copy for every individual client. And then once we have 2 hours of recording with direction. So we're both in there with you, directing you in your session, wherever you are. You don't have to fly to LA, no worries. Mm-hmm. And then we have a 10-day turnaround of your finished demo, 10 days after you record. So you'll have a finished product pretty quick. And it has all the music, sound effects, all the things that you would need to have a happy demo that you can just send out and start working. Because our whole goal for doing demos is to get you where you want to be, get you working, get you to that next step and wherever your journey is.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and it's just been such a joyous symbiosis, Brittany and Ryan, how and the dojo, how we work together. The processes are very similar and very complementary. So it's been a joyous thing. So today, Brittany's here and has insights into demos, but really we're open for questions about anything that's on your mind. Wherever you're at, there's always going to be something that like, but what is it? What is this next thing? So we're open to questions about anything at all. And I think also inherent in any discussion about making a demo is, Brittany just talked through a little bit about a little bit about the process of making a demo. But I think inherently is there's the questions of when do you make a demo and how do you know you're ready to make a demo and things like that. So we're open to hear where everyone's at. It looks like a lot of people have demos already. So there's then the whole discussion of how is it serving you? What is the next demo that one would undertake, and how do you determine that? And
Or what's your next step in the journey using your demo? That's
exactly.
one as well.
Yeah. And it also looks like a good number of people are like maybe right at the point that they've done some training, that you've done some training, and might be at the place to consider, is it indeed time? So yay, well, we've got a lovely group of folks here. So let's start taking some questions. Let's see. Pranshu, is that how hopefully that's how you say your name. Pranshu is asking, I'm having trouble trouble navigating what comes after getting my reels done. Apart from taking classes, what else can I be doing to push myself towards representation? That's an excellent question. At the dojo, we separate these parts of, I call it the natural progression from I don't know to working pro. So Pranshu, you've done whatever you needed to do to get to the demo place, right? And now, so that those steps are exploration, self-exploration, which is your demo prep, demo production. So there's this big, nice, juicy time that you're developing your skills and developing your sense of yourself and your confidence and your clarity. That is the demo prep and production. And then once it's in your hand, we call this stage that you're asking a question about integration. So how do you get this into the world and creating the flow of income that that is equal to what you've put out, right? So the first layer of questions that we ask at the dojo in terms of these integration is, where do you want to go? Because what next steps you take and who you are choosing to speak to about becoming part of your team to get you where you want to be is going to be different for everybody, depending on, there's just so many variables. So the first question that I would ask is, what are you going after, and where do you want to be? What are your thoughts, Brittany?
Yeah, I mean, that I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, it depends on where you're located, what your goals are. Do you want to be move towards commercial work or narration work or video game animation? What's kind of your goal? And then start networking and going after those things. So, for example, let's say you wanted to move into narration. What are companies that are hiring for narration VO artists? Can you reach out to them directly? Are you interested in audiobooks? ACX, are you reaching out to them and sending them your demos? If you're interested in commercial but haven't been able to get an agent yet, but your goal is to get an agent, how can you start booking some work to show your agent, hey, I'm bookable, you want to hire me, we should work together because I can make you money. And so maybe pay to plays are a good place for you to start. Maybe a regional agent is a good place to start. So it kind of just depends on where you want to go, exactly like what Tish was saying, and really seeing where you want to be in your career and and taking steps towards that.
Yeah. And so I see from, like, I think your question is about a next step of representation. So I think just like, finding the right significant other to marry or something like that. What are you looking for in representation? And if you don't know, then how do you find out? I don't know. So I think getting super clear about what and not in a, I would like someone 6 foot tall and blonde hair, and not like that. Like, really, what do you want and need, and how do you relate? So I think that's a great first step. And then also, Brittany talked about what are you so there's a little phraseology, push myself towards representation. Yes. What if shifted it to start building relationships so that representation comes to me? See the different feel of that. So one of the layers of stepping into this work once you have a demo is how are you starting to integrate into the world of who do you know who has an agent that you'd like to be working with? What opportunities are there to work with people? How are you investing in those? So things like that. Obviously, this is a multi-layered thing, and hopefully that's helpful, Pranshu. Hopefully it's helpful in because I think sometimes we forget that first step of like, well, where are you going and what do you want to do? Yeah, and both of us are for everybody, we're going to answer as many questions as we can today, and then we are always available if there's a more specific conversation that we want to have where we can actually hear both sides of the conversation. So hopefully that is helpful. I'm going to pop over here. Michelle asks, do you need original copy for a reel?
That's an interesting question. So I guess I can answer this in two ways. So if you're working with a demo producer, one of the questions you should be asking is, do you provide original copy? The reason I always recommend asking that is because it's not, having original copy from a demo producer is now pretty standard. That is, for me, that's always the first question to ask. I say this because there are I've heard some stories, and I've heard it on demos myself, where if you're going to a demo producer and they don't write original copy, you could be reading the same copy as 20 other people, and that same copy makes it on their demo. So when a agent or a casting director or a director listens to a bunch of demos and starts hearing the same piece of copy on different demos from different people, it automatically makes them think, oh, you didn't book this job. Oh, no, you went to a demo producer. Nope. Next. Because a demo, the whole goal of it is to get rid of distraction and just say, here's what I do really, really well. Here's how you can cast me. Here's how you can hire me. I understand my brand as a voice actor. And so when you break that illusion by having the same piece of copy on multiple demos, it gives them a reason to pass you by and to make them think you're not working.
And it has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with you. Absolutely. It has, because they are listening to so many demos in general that they're looking for an excuse to cull the pile. So you don't want to give them a reason to get rid of yours without listening to your voice and listening to what you do really well. So I always recommend original copy. Now, let's say you booked a job, and that's great. Technically, that's not original copy. So you can use that job and put it in your demo. And a producer will do that for you if you've booked work, or you can do it yourself. So it's kind of layered that way. Yeah, so I always recommend original copy. It's totally your call, and depends on your market and all that stuff. But I will say, especially in smaller markets, I highly recommend original copy, because there are a lot fewer people submitting for the same jobs. And it's going to be really clear who worked with what demo producer if you're all reading similar copy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think inherent in that is figuring out the blend of how much do you bring your awareness of what you've got going, and then collaborate with your demo producer, and where, how does that work? Because it's really easy when you don't know much, or you defer, and someone says, okay, well, here, this and this, but then you don't have a sense of, well, what do I know? and yeah, so
and just kind of layered on top of that, since we're talking about needing original copy for a reel, there are a couple of questions I always recommend asking demo producers. If you're thinking about renewing your demo, getting your first demo, all of those things, I always recommend asking, do you offer a free consultation? Which they should. Do you do original copy? How long is the turnaround time? I've heard there are some places where you'll wait 3 to 6 months for your finished demo. It's a long process. If that's cool with you, that's great. But not everybody wants to work on that timeline. So know what you're getting into when you go in. Do they offer revisions? Do they offer collaboration and feedback? Do they provide direction in the booth? Or are you expected to show up and just do your thing and then they put it together? Everybody's journey is different. So there's no wrong answer, but at least ask these questions going in so you know what to expect and you're not surprised if you had a certain expectation and then they're like, oh no, we don't provide direction. That's your job. At least you know it going in. And it helps you, the more educated you are when you're talking to a demo producer, the happier you're going to be with your results.
Yeah. And I think one more thing that just occurred to me about this question. Often it comes up, well, can I write my own copy? And usually we say, well, are you a copywriter? Mm-hmm. You just in that there is sort of an art form to it. Obviously, it's a little snip of the art form, but there's this is a great segue to Martin's question about trends and things like that. So there is an art form that if there is somebody who is skilled at knowing what the rhythms are and how to shift, how to hone into that art form, that's much easier. And then I think we actually have a bunch of awesome people who are part of the dojo right now who are from the other side of the glass. And I also think that so then the answer is, yes, I am a copywriter. And then I also think that there's the question of like, great, so you might be the best hairstylist, but do you cut your own hair? That's an interesting thing that happens when you find the person that you want to collaborate with. They might be able to see angles of yourself that you can't as well. So,
and also vibing with someone who you feel comfortable with and that you relate to on a personal level. I mean, because it's everybody gets nervous doing their demo because it's like, oh gosh, I paid this money and I'm nervous. I want to do a good job. And you don't want to work with someone that you are unsure about or you don't feel great about energetically. So that's something to consider too. It's business. It's not a personal thing. Not everybody gels with everybody, and that's okay.
One of the things that's been coming up, the people who are blue belts in the Mystery to Mastery program, there's a lot. It's like, oh, it's going to be time. Like, how do we know what is happening? And one of the things I've been talking about with several people over this week is, if you think about making your first demo, and not to be explicit here, but like losing your virginity. There's a lot of things that make sense, right? Because in some ways, like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready, right? And then there's lots of questions like, I don't know, what is it going to be like? And I don't know what to do, and things like that. So if you play around with anything that's coming up for you as you're as you're stepping into crossing this threshold, it's an interesting metaphor to put together. And the first time can be great. First time can be awkward. And inherent in making a demo is this will be the first time, and ideally it'll be fantastic and serve you for years to come and lay the foundations. And and also it's something that will be changing, and it won't be the only time. So I don't know, just kind of a fun, interesting, visceral way to think about it, going with like being comfortable with somebody, right? Yeah, but don't take that too far. Like I was just thinking, like, there was that creepy guy that was making people take their shirts off. I'm like, don't ever take your shirt off when anyway.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, come back, Tish. Martin, good questions here. What are some of the current trends in commercial demo? Are there any things that someone making a demo right now should incorporate into the demo? That's a fantastic question.
It's a great question. So I would say for commercial demos specifically, stick to 60 seconds. Anything much over 60 seconds is going to feel old school. No one wants to, you have like a 5-second play, but don't go much over 60 seconds. We want to hear what you can do within a minute. Another thing, this used to be the trend, is to have conversations on your demo where multiple people are talking. Nobody wants that anymore. Now they just want to hear you. What do you do? And they just want to hear your voice. I don't want to hear another guy or another girl speaking on your demo. It's distracting, and it makes me confused of, oh, who's that demo? Or whose demo is this? And then I've also had this heard that this has happened where people are listening to your demo, hear another actor, and they're like, ooh, I like that actor. And it distracts from you, and they end up finding out who that other actor is and hiring them instead of you, which you don't want. You want it to be all about you. Another trend in commercial demos is no character voices. I want to hear your voice. Don't want to hear all the accents you can do, all of the crazy character things you can do. I just want to hear you at different energy levels. As soon as you hear a character voice, agents and casting directors are like, nope, they're not current. Next. Once again, that thing we were talking about earlier, where it's like, we want nothing to distract from you. We don't want to give anyone a reason to get rid of your demo and to move on to the next. So just focus on, what do you do really well? What are brands that you would voice right now? And who are you as a person? Are you super snarky? Show off that snarkiness. Are you just warm and friendly? Great. Let's hear that at different energy levels. And again, a demo producer should be helping you with that.
Sometimes I like to think about it like, really, I can't talk. Really. I like to think of it like you in different outfits, right? So who are you in your jeans and t-shirt? Who are you in your flannel shirt camping? Who are you in your favorite sleeping shirt, your college sweatshirt that has a hole in it? Who are you right out of the shower? It's that level of just quiet, just literally nakedness, and then pushing it the other way in terms of polish or in terms of polish, like, who are you when you're going to the Academy Awards, right? And you can we want a blend of all the sides of you and genuinely you, right?
Yeah. You shouldn't have to put on a voice for a commercial demo.
Yeah. Sides of you. Good. Let's see. Let's go to Trina's question and then come back to Martin's question. And if anyone has more questions, Sarah has a question too. All right. So let's go to Trina's question. Unfortunately, before learning of the dojo, I had invested in a company that packages everything from training, demo, recording to marketing in this program, set amount of coaching sessions. In my naivete, I joined and didn't realize that the set amount of coaching doesn't work with each individual. My experience has not been good, bad demo coaching, and the company is letting me re-record my demo reel. Can you provide anything I can do with my commercial narration reel re-record? Commercial narration demo to focus on just getting the best. Okay, yes. This is kind of like, it didn't really, the person wasn't as cute as you thought, right? Or they were pressuring you.
And this happens. This
Yeah.
happens so much. You are not alone in this. This happens to
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And it's and you know, I think it's good to recognize, and I think that's one of the things that the dojo is really about. From the first second that we talk to you that this is a gestation period, and each person is going to be on their own gestation period. So how do you feel that for yourself? How do you have people guiding you? It's not something you cram in, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone's going to be on their own journey. So here's a situation where, so.
I have a great idea for this.
Yeah, let's hear, and I'll keep on formulating. Mm-hmm.
So, because I've had this happen to friends. What I would recommend is, do you already have your scripts that you're going to do for this? If so, find a coach like Tish or somebody else and have a coaching session just to work on these scripts. So when you go into the room to record, you've had some other training with someone that you might trust a little more.
Get a different perspective.
So you kind of have a better idea of what to do going into the room. And that will really help, like, elevate you in that aspect. Another thing, and this depends on the company and what they provide and stuff. You could also, once you get the demo done, ask them to send you just an audio sample with no music or sound effects or sound design. Just have your audio that you feel confident in. Send them the audio, and then you can go to someone else and put who you trust more to put music and sound effects in to mix it correctly, if that's the issue you're having with these producers. So that way it's not a waste of time, it's not whatever, and you can take what they put together and helped you put together and elevate it to make it more usable for you. So I'm not sure quite about the situation, but I think either of those options or both of those options could be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. And if there's a time frame, then you can go and get some more support in between if you can come back in a little while. So I think also just recognizing, like, I'm not feeling as confident about. So there's kind of two schools about it. One is just like, oh, well, jump in and see what we got, and this will be the demo of like where I'm at right now. If you get nothing else out of this demo, then wow, I need to continue working before I really step into this competitively. That's a gift unto itself. I'll share a little story about my journey. So my journey started because a helicopter came. A friend who was a creative director said, "Hey, I've got these spots for Bally Total Fitness. Would you like to come and do it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." Everything that I had done as a performer made total sense, was able to nail it, and left going, that is what I'm doing. The backstory, so cut to, hey, I think I'm ready to make my demo. I had the best favor of my career done by a producer who I worked with early on. We did a coaching session. She said, "That was great. You are 98% ready to make your demo, and I'm not going to do it for you." I was like, oh, okay. She said, "You need to be 110% ready, 130% ready." And then I went back to the drawing board for another 6 months. And then I was able to take that helicopter ride in addition with all of the work that I'd been doing and the other work that also needed to be done. And then the career, just went boom, because it was all there. So, you know, sometimes we go out with people that aren't the people we're going to marry, right? You know, like
Mhm.
sometimes you have dates that don't go as well. So, first of all, keep on trusting yourself and your instincts, and then make the best of it, if this and keep on positive that anything you learn from this experience is going to be awesome and great and allow you to be ready for your next thing, or just like, wow, that was, you know, so yeah, so bless it correct. And there's going to be more demos and more money going out and more money coming in.
It's like a headshot, you know, for any of those who do theater on camera. Sometimes you get bad pictures and you're like, well, that sucks.
That was a bad day.
Well, I'm gonna have to get more done in a year anyway. So
Yeah.
thankfully VO demos last a little longer than a year.
Yeah.
You can change your hair and it's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's go to Sarah. Let's see. Had my commercial for a while now, probably too long, which is another, you know, thing. How do you gauge? I'm getting mixed feedback from some other coaches, demo producers. So it's made me feel not so confident, and thus haven't used. Okay. So yeah. So you're not feeling like this is the best representation. Well-known, told from a well-known animation actor coach that I need to have a notable job to talk about before reaching out to agents.
Yeah. So I totally get where you're coming from, because I've been there. So with the commercial demo and getting mixed feedback, I would say everyone's going to have their own opinion. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. What I always recommend, if you have a voiceover demo, send it to people and get advice from people who would potentially be hiring you, casting directors, agents. We have a demo derby thing coming up where you can listen to multiple demos back to back and hear how casting listens to demo. That could be very enlightening. Things like that. As opposed to, you know, friends or coaches or other demo producers who might have their own kind of agenda when it comes to giving feedback about your demo. If you're not feeling confident about your demo, like you got it back and you're like, I don't know how I feel about this, I'm unsure, follow your gut. Maybe there's something that's not working and you just can't put your finger on it right now. And that's okay. I wouldn't let that hold you back from reaching out and get to agents and things like that. And I remember you're from LA. Something to think about for you is maybe start reaching out to regional voiceover agents, smaller markets. In LA, I know it's super competitive, and I do agree you need to have had some work before one of the big agencies are going to take a meeting with you, because their whole thing is, can we make money together? This is a business investment. And do I think that you are capable of making me money? Not every market is like that. So I would recommend maybe reaching out to smaller markets like Texas, the Pacific Northwest, the Southeast. Chicago is even a smaller market and a little more open, if that is helpful.
This is an interesting subject too, because it also brings up the question of what is the function of a demo. And in some ways, its main function, or one of its main functions, is to become a calling card to a calling card for you to build relationships with those people you are going to choose to bring on your team to navigate where you're going, right? So a calling card that way. And so you want that to be a good first impression, but you also don't want to stop yourself, right? It's that catch 22. And you know, in terms of having the work, yeah, it goes back to the business relationship. We're a team here making money. Who who would you go into business with? Hi, I've never made a dime. I, you know, making some money here. It's good. And neither, you know, people go into business having never made money either way. I think when you get to this point of integration,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be working on several levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, focusing on get the demo in and then worry, you know, and then articulate what it is. And it starts getting into nebulous area until you articulate what your specifics are, right?
Yeah.
When you speak of it generally, it will inherently be nebulous because it's going to be different for everybody. And so I think it goes back to, but the other thing that I think is one of the key things here, key words here is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have kind of a slightly sucky demo, or a, you know, maybe a little cliche demo, or not, you know, not 1,000,000%, but, you know, 999%. And walk in and just be so confident, you know what I mean? It's not bullshit, but it's about that internal, yeah, I've got this, of course, right? So
Exactly. And then when rereading your thing, you said a while now, probably too long. I don't know how long that is, but are you a different actor than when you recorded your demo? I mean, the last time I redid my commercial demo was 2 years ago. I'm a completely different actor than I was. And so I'm like, oh, I need to update this because I'm totally different. So
yeah.
maybe it could be a thing that it's just not where you are right now.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you wanted some casting feedback, that's free to get you started on that thing. Like I mentioned, we have that demo derby thing.
So twice a year, Brittany and Ryan and I do something called the Demo Listen Derby. It's coming up in 2 weeks on
Yeah.
Wednesday, March 18th, same time, 10 o'clock. And basically what we do in the Demo Listen Derby is everyone can submit their demos, and we put them all in a pile and listen down to them in a way that when Ryan was the gatekeeper at the production company, was the person making the choices, this was how he listened through either someone to be considered for the roster or for a particular audition.
Mm-hmm.
So we run it through the real process, the gauntlet that is, and it's swift, it's
It's
so
lovingly honest.
yes, lovingly honest. Yeah, it can. It's that's what we call it, the Demo Listen Derby. It's like, all right, let's bring it, and then we'll listen again to the next round of the people. Like, okay, well, let's listen a little closer,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll listen to one or two. Like, and here's a whole demo and give some feedback. So what it does is gives you a really honest to God, like, no, really, we'd turn this off after 5 seconds. And here's why. You also get a sense of how subjective it is,
Yep.
right? Because the three of us are 3 different people with 3 different perspectives. And we're just swiping left, swiping right based on that subjectivity. So it's a great experience to just go like, right, whoever's listening right now, that's what it is. And then you can also see the bigger trends of like, oh no, I hear why that works, and this is less maybe.
And it's also a great tool to see how does your demo stack up against everyone else's, because no one will ever just listen to your demo by itself. They'll be listening to tens, hundreds, not thousands. I wouldn't assume thousands, but it's never in a vacuum. So you're always being compared to everyone else's.
Yeah. And I believe that should be up on the website, www.thevodojo.com. I'm just checking with our,
and it's free.
And it's free.
So
it's
why
free.
not?
It's really, really informative. for people to sign up for. If it's not, then email us, email Tish at thevodojo.com and say that you're interested. I think it's up there.
And Ellen just asked, can non-demo contributors listen in
Yes.
on the, yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, it's really, really powerful. So wherever you are in your journey, it's really, really valuable because it just demythifies things really quick, demystifies and demythifies. And if you have a bunch of questions, it'll change your questions. You'll have more questions, but it'll just change your questions because you'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's go. These are great questions, guys. Let's go back to Martin because he's asking really good questions. Many things nowadays are reviewed on websites like Yelp, Google, or things like that. Looking around in different forums, haven't seen any reviews for demo producers. Seems like the VO actors don't publicize or advertise who did their demos. It also seems like a secret who did the demo for voice actors. It's an interesting observation and a couple of layers.
Yeah. So, first off, when you're listening to someone's demo, it shouldn't be so-and-so did my demo, so I know it's good. It shouldn't be about the demo producer. It should be about the actor. Mm-hmm. What I would say, because you're in Chicago, I think, what I always recommend for people doing voice acting and who are looking into demo producers, find your community and see who everyone else uses. I'm a part of a ton of voiceover Facebook groups and email groups, and the most a lot of questions people ask are, who did your demos? Who do you guys recommend as a demo producer? And they will give you so much feedback of people to look into. It's kind of astounding. And that's what I always recommend, that you ask the community of people that you're like, oh, I loved your demo. Who did it? Oh, your demo is really cool. Who did your demo? Nobody's going to be like, I can't tell you. I'm going to keep it. Everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I worked with this person and they're great. And I had such a good experience and a good time. Mm-hmm. I always recommend asking. Right.
And just because they had a good time doesn't mean it's the right fit for you. Too. Right. So that's the other thing to take into consideration. There's Absolutely. Also, there's also interesting things that you don't know what relationships people have. I remember years ago, I had an agent, who was the person making the decision, making the calls. They had a relationship with someone who had previously been an agent and was no longer, but now was in the realm of producing demos. So some very well-intended person said, yay, I had this great experience with this person who was awesome. But like, put that all over, I did this with this person. The person receiving it, not the favorite fan of that person, and suddenly went, boom, So once again, that stuff, that kind of, I don't want to plant too many seeds that there's like bullshit like that goes on. Like, because
people are people.
In terms of this realm, voiceover on all sides of the glass, for the most part, people are not like that, but there are just opinions and things like that. So that could be another layer of but it's more you want people to respond because you have a great haircut. Mm-hmm. Not because you went to Vidal Sassoon or whatever. Like, I'm dating myself,
Nothing wrong with that.
100 years ago, that you went to the fanciest pants stylist. It's just that your hair looks great, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. But I like how you're thinking about things. This, a lot of what we do at the dojo is create these places where you can start, like, how are you thinking through things? What kind of questions are you asking? So these are good. Okay, we're getting to time, so let's see if we can breeze through some questions. And this always happens. Everyone warms up, like, oh, which is great. But it's okay. We're here every month, so it's okay. Andy says, I'm putting together a video game demo. How many different characters, game genres, or styles? And should you include creature effects in the same demo or separately? That's a very good.
Hi, Andy. Yeah, this is a great question. So with video game and even with animation, it totally depends on your goals. Absolutely depends on your goals and what you specialize in, especially for video game demos. For example, if you don't know what battle chatter is and you've never done it and you've never taken a class in it, don't put it on your reel, because as soon as this happened to me yesterday. I was listening to someone's demo who was applying for a job, and I heard battle chatter, and it's not right at all. There's a certain cadence, there's a certain thing that comes with that. And as soon as I heard that this person didn't know how to do it, I was like, nope, they're not good. Moving on. So it depends on your goals and what you are comfortable in and what you really understand. So I would say do as many as you can that fit within those things. Creature stuff, I think it's always good to have creature, if creature stuff is what you do and
can do, right?
If you can do it, yeah, I can do it. But if creature stuff is something you can do, I would say put it in your video game demo, like maybe towards the end. And if you have a huge range of creature voices, enough to take up 60 seconds, also put it in its own demo. Give them a little taste in your video game demo, but then also have a creature reel that has all the creature stuff that you can do. Also a thing to note for video game demos, when you're putting it together, it should not be a sound design demo. And what I mean is and I've heard this from video game casting directors. They don't want to hear all the crazy sound effects and all the crazy stuff that you can do and throw everything into this one demo. They want to hear your voice in different styles and different genres with no distractions. So yeah, there could be a little bit of sound design, a little bit of music, but the important thing is your performance and your voice. If there's so much going on that you kind of get lost, they don't want to hear that. That's not helpful for them. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. And then this opens up the whole discussion about demos for different genres and how do you approach that. So much bigger discussions. So good. Liza asks if we can submit telephony demos for the Demo Lesson Derby. What we've experienced is that it ends up being mostly commercial, sometimes a little bit of narration, sometimes a little bit of animation. So it would be sort of like, in a thing all its own. And if we have time, because there's each genre and each specialization within the genre then has different sort of requirements. So, but if that's what you do and that's what you're out marketing, sure, toss it in.
And any demos we don't get to, we open it up that you can get in touch with either of us or both of us to talk about it in detail afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So why not do it?
Yeah. Rachel, for a narration demo, what trends, variations should I be looking to consider and include on my demo for a narration demo?
Again, depends on your goals. Narration, there's so many different types. There's corporate e-learning, there's kid e-learning, there's training videos, there's government, there's all kinds of stuff. And so really it's looking at what kind of work do I want to do? What rooms do I want to be in? And then making sure those make it onto your demos. I wouldn't make a narration demo that's past 2 minutes. A minute and a half is usually pretty safe. And yeah, if you were like, I just want to do e-learning, that's where I belong, that's what I want to do, then just do an e-learning demo. You don't need everything. Just do what you want to do and what you are going to be marketing yourselves to. Because if you are like, I want to do medical narration, but you only have an e-learning demo. If you send a medical narration or a medical company your e-learning demo, they're going to be confused and be like, I don't know what this is for.
Well, I think we can kind of wrap up these it's a couple questions as we come to a close here. So the first thing, and Brittany just hit on this, the real thing that your demo needs to do is serve the client that's going to hire you. So how does your demo allow the person who is going to make a choice about this job in the next like 10 minutes? How does it allow them to say, oh, totally feel comfortable. This person knows exactly what's going on. I see they can do a range of things. How does it allow the person making the decision to make the decision easily? Right. So that's ultimately what your demo needs to do. Now, on this question that segues into David's question of what should there be a VO demo for each genre? Think of how it serves that. And then as Brittany was saying, you could have a general narration demo and then also then quit, then go into the specialization, right? Depending on which way your voice or your skills go. So that's a great way to think about it. You also don't need to have a million demos all at once. Get started. I think in general,
I have two, and I've been doing this for years, and that's all I have.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right? And I mean, Tish, you have 6?
We just did a bunch because I had only had 2 for a long time as well.
Yeah.
So
you don't need everything. Focus again. It's like focus on what you want to do and where you want to be right now, and focus on that. Everything doors will open no matter what.
Yeah.
And then in case anybody has to run, since we're running towards time, I put my contact information and our Next Level Voice Demo website in the chat box. So if anybody has follow-up questions, want to look into what we do demo-wise, here's some samples or anything like that, please feel free to reach out. Might take me a day to get back, but I promise I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And Tish did the same thing.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing here. If you are interested, go to the website. You should be able to sign up for the Demo Lesson Derby, which is Wednesday, the 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I think we'll go for 2 hours. You can also sign up for a free 15-minute call that we call a voiceover once-over. So you can find time on my calendar for that.
And we do the same thing as well about demo stuff.
Yeah. I'm thinking about 2 things at once. Cool. And that basically what we can do is just get a sense of where you're at and where you'd like to be, and and talk about how we might be helpful.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got a couple more minutes here, and
we can this next question by David's really quick. What's a good length for a VO demo, as well as a range of a good length for each clip? Don't worry about the length of each clip. It depends on the spot, depends on your type, depends on that's not important. Don't worry about like, oh, each little clip should be 10 seconds. It doesn't matter.
And
it really doesn't. Nobody's going to be like, wow, that clip was really long.
And this is where working with a demo producer is great, because it's really about creating the ride. Yep. That's what I judge. Like, if you want it to be like a really cool ride that someone's excited to get, and when they start the ride, they can't get off it. That takes them all directions. And at the end they go, again, I want to hear that again. Like that there's nothing that goes clunk and so that may be that you just have a little garnish of this, a little peppering of that, and you get all this experience. So that's what a demo producer can do, help you sculpt the ride.
Absolutely. And there's having I'm the type of actor and demo producer. I'm in the room with casting directors and agents on a weekly basis. And I'm always seeing what they like, what they don't like. And never have they said, oh, these clips are too long or too short or whatever. They don't care about that. They just want to hear what you do. That being said, like we mentioned earlier, you don't want to really, narration is the one exception. Other than that, you don't want to have a reel over 60 seconds. That includes video game, includes animation, commercial, promo. You don't want anything over 60 seconds because they're not going to listen to it. Again, narration is the exception. You have a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
And I see a couple questions about trends. You know, the best way to find out what the trends are without someone telling you is just to listen. So, you know, what are you hearing? What are you noticing? Go to iSpot TV and notice, like, do 2020 commercials, 2020. What are you hearing? What are you noticing? You know, see what, you know, press on a bunch of pharmaceutical companies and see what are the voices, you know, like if there's things that you're interested in, start tuning in yourself. Yeah. Let's see, Will asks about, I think, I
My so
what do you think?
I would say, so Will was asking what kind of demo should he be submitting to the demo derby? Should it be fully produced or just raw voice? What do you send out to agents for your demo? What do you send people when they say, hey, send me your demo? Send us what you send them.
Right, because then you can give you, then it helps everybody by getting accurate feedback.
Yep.
And you know, and it also could in that way, if that is indeed what you send out now, it could allow for everyone to see the contrast of like, well, what happens when I just get a raw track? And it could be, oh my God, Will's voice is so from heaven, who cares, right? And I'm sure it is.
Or it might not.
Or it might be like, well, so it could be helpful. So feel it out.
Yeah, send us what you
put them all in the hopper and we listen down. So
so send us whatever you send to people.
Yeah, that's a great way to articulate it. Guys, we are at 1 hour. These have been fantastic questions. And Brittany, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights. We would love to see you next in the at the Demo Listen Derby on Wednesday the 18th. Go to the website, www.thevodojo.com, and you can sign up for everything. Also, it looks like a lot of people have taken some classes. If you are either just beginning your journey or have taken some classes and are not fully where you'd like to be, we do have a few seats that have opened up for the You Should Do Voiceover virtual intensive that's starting this Saturday. So if you or someone you know wants to get basically, the intensive is designed to give you a comprehensive overview and a little taste of everywhere where your voice can be making money. If you've already done some training, it complements and supplements what you already know. And the way that we work is, if you're interested in going on more in depth into the Mystery to Mastery full training program, we'll meet you where you are and take it, help you take it from there, because that's what it's about, taking your career all the way. So your voiceover career all the way. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. And again, our website is nextlevelvoicedemos.com. And if you want to reach out and ask some more questions, my email is brittanyccox@gmail.com. And thank you so much for all your amazing questions. Like, seriously.
Thank you guys so much. We're here the first Wednesday of every month, and look forward to getting to talk with you all. And we're always here as a resource for you on your voiceover journey.